The Man in the Empty House. My name is Daniel, and this happened when I was 17. Even now, years later, I still avoid driving through the countryside after dark. It was late October, and I had spent the evening at a friend's birthday party in a small town about an hour from my home. The weather had been getting worse throughout the night. By the time I left, a cold rain was falling, and thick fog covered the roads. I decided to take a shortcut that my GPS suggested. It led me away from the main highway and onto a narrow country road surrounded by forests and abandoned farmland. At first, everything seemed normal. There were occasional houses and the glow of distant farm lights. About 20 minutes later, I noticed something strange. I hadn't seen another vehicle for nearly 15 minutes. The road stretched endlessly ahead of me, disappearing into the fog. My radio suddenly began producing static. I tried changing stations, but every channel was silent except for the occasional burst of crackling noise. Then my GPS lost signal. The screen froze and displayed a message, "Searching for location." I sighed and kept driving. Eventually, I spotted an old house sitting alone near the road. It looked abandoned. The windows were dark, and most of the paint had peeled away years ago. Yet there was one thing that immediately caught my attention. A light was glowing upstairs. At first, I assumed someone lived there. But as I passed, I noticed a figure standing in the illuminated window. A man. He wasn't moving. He simply stood there, staring toward the road. A chill ran through me. Something about him seemed wrong. He looked unnaturally still, almost like a mannequin. Trying not to think about it, I continued driving. 10 minutes later, I nearly slammed on the brakes. The same house stood ahead of me. The same upstairs light. The same man in the same window. I felt my stomach drop. There was no possible way. The road had been completely straight. I had not turned around or taken any side roads. I checked my mirrors. Nothing but darkness and fog. Determined to leave the area, I accelerated. The house disappeared behind me once again. This time I kept my eyes on the road and watched every intersection. There were none. After another 10 minutes, I saw it for a third time. The house.
The light. The man.
Exactly the same. Now panic was setting in. I grabbed my phone, but there was no signal. As I drove past the house, I glanced at the window. The figure was gone. For a brief moment, I felt relieved. Then I looked at the front yard. The man was standing beside the mailbox, watching me. I hit the gas and sped away. The rain intensified, and visibility dropped to almost nothing. My hands shook on the steering wheel. A few minutes later, something appeared in my headlights. A person standing in the middle of the road. I swerved and barely avoided hitting him. When my car stopped, I looked back. It was the same man. The same dark clothes. The same pale face. He wasn't chasing me. He wasn't walking. He was simply standing there, watching. I locked the doors and drove away as fast as I could. Eventually, the road opened onto a small gas station. Relief flooded through me. The building was brightly lit, and several cars were parked outside. I rushed inside and told the elderly clerk what had happened. To my surprise, he didn't laugh. Instead, his face turned pale. He asked me where I had come from. When I described the road and the house, he was silent for several seconds. Then he said something I'll never forget. That house burned down almost 30 years ago. I thought he was joking. He wasn't. According to him, a man had lived there alone. After his family died in a car accident, he became isolated and rarely spoke to anyone. One night, the house caught fire. The firefighters found his body upstairs near a window. Ever since then, drivers occasionally reported seeing a house that no longer existed, and a man watching from the window. The clerk told me that most people who saw it only once. Very few claimed to see it multiple times. I spent the rest of the night at the gas station until sunrise. The next morning, I drove home using the highway. Weeks later, curiosity got the better of me. I searched local newspaper archives online. There had indeed been a fire. There had indeed been a man. And there was even an old black and white photograph taken before the house burned down. When I opened the image, my blood froze. Standing beside the mailbox was the man I had seen that night. The exact same face. The exact same expression. Watching the camera. Watching me. I closed the page immediately. To this day, I still remember one detail that troubles me most. When I passed the house for the final time, just before seeing the man on the road, I glanced at the upstairs window. For a split second, I thought I saw someone else standing beside him. Someone younger. Someone who looked exactly like me.